I'm Vince Tucker, Director of Men's Education for Veronica's Voice. What does men's education have to do with the mission of Veronica's Voice? Consider the basic economic principles of supply and demand. It doesn't matter if you're selling donuts or top hats, or if you run a dog walking service, or if you own a boot repair shop. If there's a market demand for a product or service, then someone will supply the market. Part of the Veronica's Voice mission is to end all demand for prostitution, sex trafficking. So who's leading the demand? Who's driving the market? Who are the buyers of sex? Oh, it's the men. Ending the demand will end the supply. The key to ending demand is to hold accountable the men who buy and educate them. And this is why there's men's education. On January 28th, 3 men completed facilitator training for the Stop Sexual Exploitation KC program, or SSE KC. Peter Qualientine developed an extensive sex buyers intervention program through the Seattle-based organization for prostitution survivors. And Peter has been working to promote men's accountability and end commercial sexual exploitation and other forms of gender-based violence for over 30 years. And Peter has identified a handful of survivor-led organizations to support in the development of a program that models the best practices from his curriculum. And Veronica's Voice is fortunate to benefit from Peter's extensive experience in writing curricula, facilitating classroom sessions, and eliciting community support. The SSE KC program is designed to support 3 process-based goals for participants. And these are reframing sex buying from a victimless crime to a practice of gender-based exploitation and violence. So in other words, recognizing that prostitution is not victimless, but it is exploitation and violence. And number 2, we have process-based goals in this program to deconstruct toxic masculinity. And then number 3, along with that, so we deconstruct, we have to reconstruct. So supporting healthy concepts, alternative healthy concepts of masculinity. And so as you can see, we recognize that sex buyer behavior is rooted in unhealthy masculinity propagated by male social norms, and that sex buying is sexual violence that has been normalized by these social norms. Peter recognizes this, and this has been a long-standing position of Veronica's Voice, and this is one of the main reasons why we chose Peter to support us in the development of our men's education program. So the SSE KC program is a 10-week intensive workshop for sex buyers that attend our sessions by court order mostly, or we also get participants who self-refer, who may be sex buyers but weren't court ordered, or maybe they self-refer because they have unhealthy behaviors related to the things that we were talking about, and they have a desire to change those. And so the workshops, again, include two individual sessions for intake and assessment to begin with, and then 8 group sessions after that, following covering these topics. We begin with sexuality and gender socialization, and we talk about harm to victim survivors, and then the sexual violence continuum, pimping, trafficking, and domestic violence, power and violence. We have an entire session on vulnerability, and then a session on mutuality and relationships. And then finally, the final session as we talk about having the will to change. So these 8 sessions, again, are preceded by 2 motivational interviews for each participant to determine their readiness for the class and to enhance the overall effectiveness. And class fees support victim services provided by Veronica's Voice, a true restorative justice model. So this program gets to the root cause of prostitution, sex trafficking, while supporting the women affected by this exploitation. This class has positive impacts on sex buyer behavior, with 95% of participants saying that they plan to never buy sex again. And I can tell you from personal experience, being trained by Peter, that this class had a profound impact on me as well. So just to be clear, all men, even if you are not a perpetrator of sexual violence, can benefit from this class. Because the reality is this, the male cultural norms, right? Male cultural norms put pressure on all men, whether you're a perpetrator or not. The norms affect all of us, impacting our daily lives, and then as a result, impacting the lives of women and girls, both generally and the ones in our personal lives. So I am so excited to introduce SSE KC to the Kansas City community.